All right, welcome back to Black Bear News. Please remember to like the video and to make sure you are still subscribed. How's it going, guys? Guys and gals of the Doomosphere. So what do we got? We got plenty. What we got is plenty. Someone sent me a speech by Greta Thunberg, and it was a good speech. Pretty classic Greta. Although what I didn't know, what the speech actually revealed to me, was that Extinction Rebellion successfully halted the expansion of the Bristol airport in the UK. A scheme to expand the Bristol airport has been rejected following protests that it would exacerbate the climate emergency, damage to the health of local people, and harm to flora and fauna. Let us give a round of applause to Extinction Rebellion being successful in blocking this. This doesn't mean less global dimming, therefore a raising of temperatures. This just doesn't mean more carbon into the atmosphere, which is a good thing. What we do about the global dimming thing, I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine, although, was it somebody said that Guy McPherson was speaking with a scientist who was dealing or working on something around global dimming? I don't know. This seems very kind of nebulous and fleeting in my brain. But to actually, because I brought up Guy McPherson in regards to my video yesterday, Guy McPherson has the unenviable job of being, one of the leading scientists or people out there, alerting people to the climate emergency. So, I think that he feels like he is doing people a service when he says, hey, we could be in for very rough times very soon. It's difficult because I personally feel like the range of possibility is quite wide, right? So it's possible that we see a 1°C increase in temperature this year and everything, falls apart. And it's also possible that we could see, a minimal increase or an increase in line with the trajectory that we are already on as far as global temperatures, and that, the system is resilient. And maybe we see, the same happening with Arctic ice loss, which is, more Arctic ice loss, volume loss, but still in line with the trajectory we're on. But we don't see a blue ocean event, and the system is resilient. And we, next year at this time, everything is the same. So, those are the two, those are the two guardrails of possibility. And there's a lot in between that. There's a lot of possibilities in between those two. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with the economy? Who knows what's going to happen with coronavirus? Who knows what's going to happen with the election? Who knows what's going to happen, with climate change and the feedback loops in and of themselves? Who knows what's going to happen? So yeah, Guy's been making these predictions almost every year or at least for the last 5 years that I can recall. And, I'm not saying he should make these predictions. He's just making them because I think that he feels like it's, helpful to alert people to the problem. However, we're still here. So, I don't know. I don't know what that says. I don't know what that means. I don't know, what the takeaway is from that. I don't know. I heard the same things about the economy for the last 5 years. Here it goes. We're going over the falls. This is it. February, look for the stock market to crumble, look for the derivative markets to crumble, look for the, that this has been going on for 5 years straight. Here it goes. This is it. This is the end, and here we are. So I don't know, do with that information what you will. Plan or don't plan for an emergency, based on whatever information that you've got. I don't know. I personally don't know what to do about all that. I guess, plan for the worst, hope for the best, et cetera, et cetera. So let's move on. I just wanted to say that briefly. So, kudos to Guy McPherson for doing the work that he's been doing. A Costa Rican indigenous land defender, Yehry Rivera, murdered by mob. This is horrific. In Costa Rica, 45-year-old land defender Yehry Rivera of the Brorin indigenous community was murdered Monday by an armed mob after he joined a campaign by indigenous families to reoccupy their ancestral lands. It was the second murder of an indigenous land defender in the past year. Under a law passed in 1977, Costa Rica's 24 legally recognized indigenous groups are entitled to reclaim lands taken from their ancestors, but the law has never been implemented. Land defenders are under siege, under attack all over the planet, especially in South America. It's a very dangerous place to be a land defender. It seems like almost every month we have a news report come out of someone killed in South America, protecting the environment or protecting the land. Incredibly dangerous place to be in order to do that work. We have the Wet'suwet'en tribe in Canada trying to fight a pipeline unsuccessfully, and they are being, luckily they're not being murdered, but they're being, moved off their land or moved out of the way, and the pipeline will, go through. And this again has been going on, excuse me, all over the planet, but definitely in North America as well. See Dakota Access Pipeline. Back to some, at least better news. Landmark win in a fight for habitable future as jury refuses to convict climate activists who presented necessity defense. So we've got a lot of emotional swings in this newscast. We went from the Bristol airport expansion being blocked by Extinction Rebellion to land defender being murdered, and now a jury has ruled in favor of climate activists in Oregon. When citizens are told the truth about the climate crisis, which is the first of Extinction Rebellion's demands, they take appropriate and responsible action, as our jury did, and we thank them. Environmentalists celebrated a landmark victory in the fight for habitable future after a Portland, Oregon jury on Thursday refused to convict 5 Extinction Rebellion activists, including valve turner Ken Ward, who presented the climate necessity defense at their trial for blockading a train track used by the Zenith Energy transport to transport crude oil. Excuse me. The activists emphasized that the win was only partial because the criminal trespassing case ended in a mistrial rather than a full acquittal. Just one of 6 jurors voted to convict the activists, while the other 5 voters, they voted to acquit. So the climate necessity defense has been used successfully. I don't know if this is the first time, but I would guess that it is. This is the first time it's been used successfully. The 5 activists who were arrested last April for building a garden on the tracks of Houston-based Zenith Energy's railroad terminal in Portland to protest expansion of the fossil fuel infrastructure. The activists have been protesting the expansion of the oil terminal at a time when they say we should be dismantling, ding, 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 fossil fuel infrastructure, not creating more. Bully for Extinction Rebellion. This is, 2 cases this year they have successfully blocked expansion of fossil fuel infrastructure. Good on you. So let's move to some coronavirus stuff. Coronavirus is affecting Hollywood. I don't know if anybody cares, but actually, Hollywood being a fairly big contributor, I think, to fossil fuel emissions and to just general planetary destruction. I'll count this as a good thing. But anyways, given what's happening in China, it's really disrupted the filmmaking industry. So we have some other actual news from today. Oh, darn it, and darn it. Hold on, guys. Need to do something special for the Washington Post because I refuse to give them my money. But there's a way to read their articles for free. If you open up a private browser in Safari, you can just open up the link in the private browser and you can read it for free. Live updates. First U.S. death confirmed from coronavirus. And I guess there has been some travel restrictions implemented by the U.S. affecting Iran, Italy, and South Korea. The Trump administration Saturday announced additional travel restrictions affecting Iran, Italy, and South Korea in response to the coronavirus outbreak following the first death from the virus in the United States. So yes, there was a death in Washington State. There were more coronavirus infections reported in Qatar, France, Oregon, California. Washington State announced late Friday that a high school student, Snohomish County, just north of Seattle, tested positive for the deadly virus and was in home isolation in a suspected community transmission case. So apparently, this one case that was discovered in Northern California, they don't understand how the person got infected because they didn't travel to any countries with an outbreak. Italy is said to have more than 1,000 coronavirus cases. Yeah, so this is continuing, and again, guys, the travel restrictions, travel warnings. What is that going to do to? What is that going to do to aerosol masking and global dimming? Was there one more thing I wanted to cover in this here video? I'm going to have to leave it. Larry Taylor says, good to know, Washington Post. Thanks. Zoxalix says, water is my big concern at the moment. You have water. You have no water. You have no water storage, or you don't know what you would do in the long term without more water. Is that? I don't know. Yeah. First death, Washington State. Yes. Larry Taylor, Vice President Pence's face was red. Oh, that's what I wanted to read. I can't. I don't know if I can reach it. Well, so I'll just briefly, in summary, Harley Canine, who is a longtime watcher of the channel and frequent commenter, put a pretty good post up yesterday under the video talking about the death rate from the disease, from coronavirus. And he was saying it was more like something in the 7% range because when they're calculating the death rate, they are using all the cases, all the current cases of people who are infected. No, they're not referring to closed cases, which means how many people recovered and survived, and how many people succumbed. And he was saying if you look at the number of closed cases versus the number of deaths, it's like 7%, which is quite a bit higher. 7% is pretty concerning given how contagious the virus is. So there's that. The comment is somewhere under the video that I put up yesterday if you want to go check it out for yourself. I'm going to keep it short today, guys. I'm going to read a few more comments and I'm going to have to sign off. Reverend Walker says, I'm sure we've seen Guy's recent video on the professor from Harvard. I don't know what that's referring to. I don't know if I've seen that. Are they talking about the Harvard professor who says coronavirus is a huge, nuclear bomb type pandemic, or is it something else? Poppy Davis says, Zoxolix, fill your bathtub when electricity goes out before water pressure does. That's one way to do it. Zoxolix says, I've got 5 boxes of expired cereal, 2019. There you go. Well, and somebody else brought that up yesterday. Good comment. Was it Henry Holt? It might have been Henry Holt. Somebody was saying, like, I've been prepping for 7 years. Now I've got a lot of food that's gone bad. There's only so much prepping you can do. And, I think, you got to kind of like prep where you live or prep while you live, which is, if you've got food storage, that's great. There's ways to store food for some long-term things, but, you've got to, like, constantly kind of recycle your food that you have in storage. You've got to, you got to bring out the older food and eat that up and then put some newer, fresher food in storage. Creative experiments. Hopium makes you go back to work and shut up, that's what I'm about to do, actually, when I jump off this. I'm going to go back to work and I'm going to shut up. I don't really talk to too many people anymore about climate change because it's just a real bummer. It's just such a bummer. Zoxolix says that's 70 times more deadly than the flu at 0.1% mortality. Yeah. Which is fairly deadly. And, if you're going to recover, not fun in recovery. Oh, there's one more thing about the coronavirus that I heard was that you don't build up an immunity, which means you can get it again and again. And it's worse the next time you get it. So apparently getting the coronavirus does not give you any kind of help in the future. Oh, realize. Thank you. Harvard professor wants to put mirrors in the ocean. I don't know. I'm going to have to go check that out. I'm sorry. I missed that one. I totally missed that one. Mirrors in the ocean. Okay. All right. Will it help? Is it scalable? Can we do it? I don't know. Reverend Walker says Spanish flu was around 2%. Spanish flu. Then that was the Spanish flu that killed millions of people in the early 1900s. That was the Spanish flu, was it not? Prudhomme. Well, no, it was actually the Bristol airport expansion was also blocked. I didn't know that Heathrow was rejected. I didn't know that. That's great. That's good news. Does that most likely has to do with Extinction Rebellion as well, right? Because they were protesting that much. Rotate your food, eat it. Rotate was the word I was trying to look for. I don't know. My brain sometimes just reaches for things, very simple words, and cannot find. Zoxalix 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. Funky Mystic $20 life straw that filters water as you drink it. Yeah. If it works for you, if it's going to help. All right, lastly, before I sign off, it is Saturday. There's a primary in South Carolina. Results coming in about 2 hours. People are not too hopeful for Bernie on today because South Carolina, for whatever reason, is a huge Biden stronghold. Probably the only state he will win in this entire contest. So, but it just kind of puts a little like, it puts a little crimp in the stride if you're a Bernie Sanders fan. But we'll see. Who knows? He may pull out a surprise. And then there is Super Tuesday on Tuesday. Super Tuesday, which is on Tuesday. Lots of states voting, including California, on that day. Spanish flu killed 1 in every 10 people alive in 1920. That's a lot of dead. Zoxalix, your tub is nasty. Why don't you clean your tub? You can't clean it? Or is it just messed up? Creative experiments. Hillary won California in 2008 and 2016. California is a lost cause. Is it? I don't think so. Bernie is a clear leader in California. I actually suspect, though, that Elizabeth Warren will do better in California than a lot of people give her credit for. There are a lot of Warren supporters in California. I don't know why. I can't really badmouth her too much because people are like, oh, you're mean. But, what are you going to do? I try and tell people that she's a liar, and they're like, oh, what are you talking about? We love her. She's a liar, though. Straight liar. Everybody will be cleaning their tubs after this. You know what? I don't even have a bathtub, so that sucks for me. That sucks for me. Do it with your feet, Zox. You know what I mean? Put the cleanser in there. Put the sponge down. Wiggle your foot around. Or pay somebody. Hire a kid from down the street to do it for pay him $15 or something. Anyways, guys, I got to sign off. Thank you so much for jumping on with me. Thank you for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you'd like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.